Okay, so I'm using Baohong 100% cotton cold pressed paper. I've attached a link to this photograph below in the description box. I just drew some simple trees that you see in the photograph here and just the line across. And we're going to use some PBO masking fluid and like a small skinny brush to mask out all where the bluebells are. So you can find this on my Amazon shop. It's just simple PBO masking fluid. We're going to tippy tap all the areas where all the bluebells are. I've kind of sped it up because it's monotonous to watch me tippy tap everything, but you just go around where all you see the bluebells are. If you have a small brush, I just find that using a brush and the PBO masking fluid is so much better than using a pen or something like that, because the pen is like much bigger. I don't like it as much. And so here you have more control of it. You can tap it where you want to put it all around, cluster it in different areas. It's what I like to do. And if you're new to watercolor and you're starting out, masking fluid is your friend, because we're going to wash over the color on top of it and then remove it, and then you could paint in the bluebells. To paint around the bluebells with the greens and then kind of washing in the color, it's just more difficult if you're just starting out. This is the best way that I know to tell you how to do this. If you're starting out, masking fluid will be your friend. You mask out all those light areas that you see. You could even mask out, you could add some, if you wanted to add some light colored ferns or leaves, you can do that. I chose not to do that, but you can do that as well. So you have a few like leaves, or we're going to be scraping it in a bit, but that's one way to do it. And just mask out all the areas with that. So now I'm grabbing my 12 Aqua Elite series from Princeton brush. I'm going to loosen up some cadmium yellow deep from Holbein and some peacock blue from Holbein. It's a great color. It's unusual to the unique to them. It makes great Kelly green. So as you add more peacock, as you see me doing here, it becomes more of a Kelly green, less peacock, a bright chartreuse yellow green. The consistency of the paint is kind of like coffee towards the milk. And so we're going to get this area on the paper wet first. Wet water. I got some wet water on my paintbrush. I'm just going to wet around these areas. I'm going a little faster because it's much faster and better to see me do that. Just wetting this whole entire area with clean water. Not so sopping wet, but wet enough where you can just take the paint that we have on the right-hand side. See, it's kind of shiny. And then we just take some clean water, just tapping around, leaving some white. You don't have to paint water everywhere. And then we're going to take our light, loose, bright chartreuse yellowish green. I'm mixing up some more yellow. I wanted it really kind of yellowish. And we're going to tap that into the wet paper, right? Because the paper was dry, now it's wet. You see the consistency? It's like coffee to milk. And see, I'm just tapping around, leaving some white spots in between. I'm going to go all around. I add a little bit more water in my brush. If you see me move my brush away, it's dipping into the water jar. It's kind of hard to show everything on my video. I might have to do a split screen. That's just more work. I can't edit everything. So I'm just tapping around. You see, I'm left some white. I'm going next to the tree. I kind of pushed down my brush alongside of it and then tapped out outside of that. And you can see some white areas, right? We don't want to fill it all in. Leaving some white, just tapping around where you see yellowish, kind of light green in the photograph. There is some blue there. I might add some later, but right now I'm not going to do that. And then I'm going to go take my Kelly green. I'm going to tap on top of that. So it's going to start to blend, dissipate, because they're both wet on wet. We got two colors, wet on wet. I'm just kind of tippy tapping, all that great stuff. Again, the consistency of the paint should feel like it's like coffee, you know. Tea is like really loose, very watery. Coffee is a little bit more paint, you know, mixed in, so it's a little thicker. And as you keep going and adding more paint, it becomes almost like butter, right? So the consistency of the paint right now is coffee with a little bit of milk. So it's loose, it can move it, and it will bleed and blend on top of the other wet paint that we just put down, but it won't be like crazy all over the place. And it's not sopping wet. We want this like wet damp. We don't want this sopping wet on our paper. And it's a block, so I'm using a block. Block's a little bit more expensive than just loose paper, but the advantage of that is that it's not going to wrinkle. And now I'm grabbing this ratty brush that I have. This old brush. If you have an old brush that's kind of like not great anymore, kind of destroy it, and then you can take some thick paint. The paint is now thicker. And see, I'm just tapping around for leaves. Tippy tap, right? You're just moving the brush around this way, wiggling it that way, moving it this way and that way to create the leaves. It creates really great small, tiny leaves without much effort, much work. And I'm just grabbing the paint. Now the paint's a little thicker. I added some more paint to it. Even if it's looser, you can still use this too. Trust me, this brush is great. So it's a number 2 mixed media brush. It was kind of like bent over and kind of mushed up. So if you have an old brush, this is what you can do with your old brushes, no matter what size, and just kind of mush them up and then use some paint for them and create some great, blooms or leaves or just texture. And I'm just kind of tapping around, and some of it's still wet, some of it's still damp. I make it a little thicker with adding some more paint, and then it won't just sit on top. It won't be so loose, right? So now it's thicker paint. I added some more pigment. So now the paint consistency is getting towards milk cream. And so it just kind of doesn't move as much through the wet media. That's what I like to do. You want to play with the different, consistency of the paint. If you're not used to that, that's like 101 with watercolor. Consistency and how much water you're putting in with the paint and on the paper, right? So I'm going back with the brush. I'm diluting it a little bit more, and I'm just going to put a little bit light color on the bottom area here. Kind of like off in the distance, this light chartreuse yellow green, way off in the distance. So it's just very loose and light. Yes, very simple. It's kind of what we did in the beginning, but now we're just kind of like putting it across the bottom and all that great stuff. Now we're going to take our paint. So I've made the same kind of paint. I'm going to add some darker color. So I'm grabbed some Prussian blue and some burnt umber. I've mixed it into the paint that I had. It's a little thicker because we need some medium color and some deep dark color. We're going to be doing some wet and wet again, but we're going to tap in some dark greens. This is burnt sienna. We're going to put in some of the browns, mix with some ultramarine blue deep, and it gets a nice deeper brown. So we're going to wash this light color in. The consistency of the paint, again, is similar to coffee to milk, maybe a little bit looser than that. We're going to wash over this. See, I'm just taking my 12 brush, kind of gliding it across. I'm dipping in back and grabbing some more water and some more yellow. It wasn't yellow enough because we want this light, sunny area. Now it's very wet, right? Going across all around. You don't want to leave white. You don't need to leave white. I'm going to just put this light color green all around. Little tippy taps around the tree if you want to actually add some like where the ferns are. But you don't have to do that now. You can do that later too. So you can see me just throwing in this color, across the paper. Just take your time. You could just take like a bigger brush and just wash across the whole entire thing, but I'm kind of doing it in segments. And I'm adding in some deeper color. So I mix the two greens together and they got a medium green, and I'm adding the darker green, right? Going in this area. I might take some more of that medium green. I grab some more peacock blue. I want some medium, not super light. And then there's the dark. So it's very wet. And now I'm just taking my brush and just moving around and making like those little ferns or grasses with the brush, the tip of my brush. Grabbing some more medium green again, mixed in some more green, and just tapping around this wet green that we see here. Mixing, making some little, again, dapping in the dark greens, take some burnt sienna, little browns. You can see some browns poking in through the ground and part of the tree on the ground. You just have to tap it on the paper where you see those colors that make sense, right? Just squint your eye and see where the dark browns are, adding those colors and adding the medium greens, going around the picture. See, I'm just taking my time. I'm tapping the green now around where the bluebells are. Now remember, we masked them in. So now we can tap the color all on top of it and around it. If you left spaces, it's going to go in between them. This is a great way to create like paintings where if you want to have daisies in the woods, right, or yellow flowers in the woods, you're just washing the color all around those wonderful masking taps that we did earlier, right? So now I'm taking my 8 long round and I'm making some little wispy grass. Wisp, wisp, wisp. I'm going to slow this down a little bit. So I'm using the Princeton 8 long round, the same series, Aqua Elite, and I'm just taking the brush and wisping, moving the brush. I'm doing fast, right? This is not actually sped up. This is actual real time. That's how fast I'm doing this. And just moving the brush. I like to go fast. If you don't go fast, if you're going too slow, you're overthinking it sometimes. I'll add in some more browns and tap that in and go around all these areas. Just taking my time with the 8 long rounds. It's really great. Now, take a credit card while it's damp and scrape. Scrape, scrape, scrape. You can scrape the grass. You can paint the grass. But scraping up, you get those like white, little grass lines. And it works best when it's damp. Not dry, not wet, damp. So you can kind of know that it's still wet. It hasn't been dried yet. That's when you scrape to get those white lines. Going back with my 8 long round, making some grasses, kind of wisping it up, moving it around the tree area, all that great stuff. So yes, you have to scrape when it's damp. If you scrape when it's wet, it's just going to which is fine too. You can have the paint fold into the paper if you want to make that. I do that kind of technique when I want to do like veins on leaves, things like that, or tree, lines, things like that. You want the paint to fold back into the paper, but if you want that white scrape, you got to wait till it's damp. It's the best time to do it. So now I'm grabbed some quinacridone Sienna from Daniel Smith and tapping it around, because you can see that kind of bright, like rustic kind of yellowish orange kind of color kind of seeping through. Going back up my greens, taking that, making some more grasses. I sped this up because it's monotonous to keep talking about grasses for an hour and then putting the color in around my bluebells that I have masked out with the masking fluid. And just taking your time. I'm going fast, but you don't need to see me paint every little stem. You get the idea, right? We're painting around. We're just kind of squinting our eye from the photograph, seeing where the dark colors are, painting around there and adding them in. It's super fun. Trust me. I could spend all day doing grasses. So I'm back to my 12 Aqua Elite. I'm taking some burnt sienna and some ultramarine blue deep. I'm going to make the brown for my tree. Now, those two colors make great browns. A little bit more burnt sienna, and I might add some quinacridone sienna in this one to make a little bit of orangey brown. And we're going to fill in our tree, right? I want to use this color, and the consistency of the paint is definitely going to be coffee-ish. We want a light color tone because you see the highlight on the right because the sun's hitting it. So we want to put that first wash to be like a nice light tan, beigey, orangey kind of tree color. You can make it more gray, but I think it should be brown. And then you can go add a little bit more color, a little more thicker paint, right? You can start to add a little bit more of the same colors, maybe a little bit more burnt sienna, whatever, on the left-hand side. You can see we're going to have it blend and bleed because it's already damp and wet into the tree a little bit more. So it's already wet from the first wash. We're adding a little thicker paint on the bottom, on the left-hand side. It will slowly bleed into the right, but it's not super wet. You don't want that sopping wet when you put the color in. Right? That's why I constantly talk about consistency of the paint. 101, where the butter, it goes from butter, cream, milk, coffee, tea, right? Just think of those actual products and how much water is in it. And that's how much you add to your paint to get the consistency that I'm talking about, right? A little bit thicker again, add some more, and then you can start to do some little lines. I'm going to slow this down again. So we're painting lines downward with the 8 long round. And you want to kind of make a line, then push down, pick back up. So you want the squiggle line that's broken, kind of not like one next to each other, kind of broken, like top, bottom, different sides. So it's all kind of just broken up. Some are thicker, some are thinner. Otherwise, it looks kind of goofy. It doesn't make sense, That's what you need to do. Get a little thicker paint, right? Make those lines going up and down, wiggling. I added a little bit more blue so you can get more of depth. Like you see some of the lines in the tree, like the bark. Again, the wiggly. Now we take the same colors. I'm going to just kind of break them in the back for the trees, right? So you just see where all the trees are that you have. You can add more trees. You can add less trees. Do whatever you want. It's your picture, right? I mean, you have the photograph there. You don't have to follow everything to a T. I tell this to people all the time. Just because you see it doesn't mean you have to paint it, right? All the great artists like edit. You can do a street scene and you have to edit out like a million different things. Otherwise, you go crazy. And you want to paint every single thing and make it like a photograph. That's fine. But editing is the key, right? So there's a ton of trees in this photograph. I'm not going to paint all of them. And as you see, I'm going up and kind of breaking some up where the trees, where the leaves are. You're breaking through. Some you might see the more of the tree trunk and the bark in front of it. Some you might not. I'm just going up and down. Don't forget to leave a little bit, like some of the bigger trees, like a light wash, and then go again, do the same thing we did in the big tree. On the small skinny tree, you can see some light shining through, especially towards the bottom. And I would suggest using some of that quinacridone sienna. It's like this. You can see some of that like highlight of that orangey kind of tree color there. And just going to go up here and just putting in my trees, taking my time, using my 8 long round, adding in some darker color in some areas, some lighter color in the other areas, and just going through and doing that. Yeah, so like I say, don't freak out. So I'm just going to fill in all my trees, doing this like you see, and come back and start painting in our lovely bluebells and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to go back in here with the tree and make those lines again. I think in the beginning I didn't put the darker ones. I'm going to put some darker ones. Could put some nice dark wiggly lines like I talked about. In the beginning, I just did a few of them, right? I didn't paint the whole entire tree with the bark, but now I'm going to paint it all in there. And like I said, you wiggle it, you break it up, you just move it around all over the place with a darker, thicker consistency of paint. So it's definitely not butter, but more like cream, right? So pretty thick, a lot darker, just going over that. And when that dries, you can do another wash of color on the left-hand side to make it even darker. That's what I do. You can do the same thing with the trees in the background too. You can add some darker tones to those. Make them look more, like the light is shining through on the right-hand side. And just fill all those in and add some more trees if you want to. Like I added a few more trees. And just fill all of this wonderful stuff in. So going back and grabbing my darker color, like I mentioned, the wash, now that it's dry, and just washing in another deeper value on the left-hand side of that tree. So it really enhances, it really sees that the sun is coming through and hitting that other side of the tree. So you can do this like 1,000 times. You can put 1,000,000 washes over it. It's called glazing. It's what watercolor is all about. So now I'm going to take my tool. This is a rubber cement pickup. And I'm going to remove all the masking fluid. You got to give it some, elbow grease here and just remove all that masking fluid. It takes time. I sped this up because you don't need to see me take an hour to remove all the masking fluid for my wonderful bluebells. So you're just going to remove all the masking fluid and get ready to paint in all the beautiful bluebells. We're going to take our 12 brush again, ultramarine blue deep, maybe a little bright rose, make it a little more purple. I also can use like this color in holbein called lavender. Tap that in there if I want to. You can use cobalt. You can just use French ultramarine I have from Daniel Smith. I use some of that. Get it pretty loose. Consistency should be like around coffee. And we're going to just tap in all the areas that we removed with our masking fluid. We moved all the masking fluid. I'm grabbing some French ultramarine from Daniel Smith. It's actually very bright and vibrant. I love it. So I'm playing with that new color. I'm just going to tippy tap all that color in there. I'm speeding it up because, again, monotonous to see me do that. But you're just going to fill in all those areas that we removed with the masking fluid with this color, right? And as you're doing this, you can add some deeper value or keep it lighter, right? So you have the wash in there. You notice some places might be too clumpy or clustered. You can go back over it with green, lighter green, fill it in. But the problem is you can't do the opposite, right? So this is why we put the masking fluid in. We want to put the color wash in. And if you see if there's too much of a cluster by the tree and you want to paint over with some greens, some grasses, you can do that. And that's the beauty of the masking fluid. That's why I love it. So yes, I'm going to go back with my ratty brush and tap over some of the tree leaves again. Remember I talked about this? I sped it up again because it's monotonous for me to tell you how to do this and show you. But do that. Just fill it all in, right? And like I said, you can grab another 8 long round and start to do some grasses in front of the bluebells, a little thicker paint. Just fill in all those little areas. If it seems too clustered and doesn't look like, how we live little grasses that are going in between the flowers, you just take some paint. You can even add a little gouache to it, lighten it up, and go over that with grasses. So much fun to do this, right? Yeah, I'm just taking the paint, going over the areas, all that good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed it. And like I said, Patreon members get the extended version. Click the link in the description box to become a Patreon member and get the extended version. But I hope you enjoyed this. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you should. We have a lot of fun over here. Remember, it's just paint, having fun. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.